Okay, we got a full house this morning. Good morning and welcome to a regular meeting of a panel of utility commissioners and staff of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, held today, Wednesday, November 3rd at 10 a.m. by remote teleconference. My name is Chairman Marissa Gillette, and I'm joined today virtually by my colleagues, the Vice Chairman and Commissioner Michael Karen. We have a regular calendar and consent calendar in front of us. But we also have a very pressing matter at the top of the hour, which is to wish the Vice Chairman a very happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Wish him a happy birthday, which is the most pressing item on today's agenda.
Well, so, yes, it is. And thank you for your card. Thank you.
Okay, with no further ado, we'll go into the regular calendar this morning. We have 4 items on the regular calendar. The first being docket number 19-1225, the petition of Northland Investment Corporation for declaratory ruling as to the authority's application of Connecticut General Statute, section 16-262E, to the allocation of utility expenses and rent. So this morning we have Attorney Riley on behalf of the authority staff to present the supplemental ruling for the panel's consideration, please.
Thank you, Chairman. And good morning. This is a supplemental decision following a remand from the Connecticut Superior Court. This docket addressed Northland Investment Corporation's petition for declaratory ruling that Connecticut General Statute section 16-262E does not prohibit Northland from using ratio utility billing, also known as RUB, to issue separate monthly charges to its tenants to recoup costs paid by Northland to provide utility services to its tenants. On remand, this decision refines the authority's analysis and concluding that using RUB is prohibited under the plain language of section 16-262E and includes the addition of section 4, which specifically addresses the Superior Court's question on remand regarding the relevance of the building in rent setting approach to utility billing using the RUB method. The authority concludes in section 4 that a landlord's customary inclusion of utility costs and rent through a built-in approach does not contradict the authority's finding that RUB is impermissible under section 16-262E. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the supplemental decision?
I move adoption.
Second.
Thank you. The item has been regularly moved and seconded. I'll pause for questions or comments on this item. Commissioner Karen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, as many noticed during our orals argument, I certainly had some reservations concerning the use of the ratio utility billing, and I still don't see the rationality of allowing one type of use which is less precise than the ratio utility billing method, and consequently, I think I will oppose this particular ruling or this particular decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Karen. If there are no further questions or comments, I would ask Mr. Bumpin to please take the roll, please.
Chairman Gillette?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Karen?
No.
Thank you. The item is adopted. We will next move to docket number 20-0513, PURA study of community choice aggregation. We have Joel Anastasio with us from authority staff. I'll ask him to present a summary of the report for the panel.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me okay?
A little quiet, but we can hear you.
Okay. Let me see if I can make it a little louder. Is that better? Good. Okay. Hello, and thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Bukowski, and Commissioner Karen. This decision includes the authority's study into the examination of a community choice aggregate, or as I'll refer to the remainder of the summary, a CCA program, which was in response to a petition submitted by People's Action for Clean Energy and Eastern CT Green Action. The authority does not take position on the adoption of a CCA program in Connecticut at this time. Rather, the study identifies and addresses key issues that decision makers should consider when evaluating or enabling the potential implementation of CCA in the state. The authority does appreciate the efforts of the petitioner and all the other docket participants who engage in this proceeding to assist in the development of this report. In a restructured electricity market such as Connecticut, there could be a few different ways that municipalities could run the program, all with the end goal of procuring bulk power on behalf of residents, businesses, and municipal entities, collectively retail electricity customers, while still receiving distribution and transmission services from the EDCs. As such, the formation of a CCA generally requires a public referendum, a vote by the local governmental body, enabling legislation, or some combination thereof. In its most basic form, CCA would provide electric generation services to the applicable Connecticut retail electricity customers, supplanting standard service or supplier of last resort service that would otherwise be provided by the EDCs, or could be through a competitive third-party supplier. Similar to other competitive suppliers, CCAs may determine the mix of resources used to supply electric generation services to their customers, such as one or more offerings that contain environmental attributes, also referred to as green product. In terms of available administrative frameworks, a CCA program may be managed directly by a municipality or similarly situated local government entity, or possibly by a third-party brokerage service. Ultimately, this study does not reach a definitive conclusion as to whether CCA would be appropriately enacted in the state, but rather it identifies a number of factors that should be considered by the General Assembly when evaluating CCA as an option for our state and the electricity customers. In short, the authority respectfully advises that given the range of potential CCA frameworks, enabling legislation should seek to identify and, if possible, prioritize the desired public policy objectives that a resulting CCA program should be designed to achieve. Given the potential effects on standard service and other state energy issues, the authority respectfully opines that a similar degree of oversight to that which it exercises over the third-party electric supplier market may be warranted. So I recommend adoption of the final report to the panel, and thank you for the consideration.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. The item has been regularly moved and seconded. If there are no questions or comments, then I would ask Mr. Thumpton to please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The report has been adopted. We'll turn to the third item on today's regular calendar, docket number 210301, the review of the 2020 system expansion mechanisms filed by Connecticut Natural Gas Corporation, the Southern Connecticut Gas Company, and Yankee Gas Services Company. This morning, I believe we have Mr. Saeed Hussain with authority staff, who is going to make a presentation of the decision for the panel's consideration.
Hi, good morning. In this decision, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority approves the 2020 SCR rates filed by the Connecticut local gas distribution companies. In this docket, the authority examined the SCR rates proposed by the LDCs to determine if they're consistent with the gas expansion decision and with general rate-making principles. Additionally, the authority uses this docket as an opportunity to review the System Expansion Plan, or SEP, in general. In its 2020 SCR filings, capital expenditures reported by CNG was $11.3 million. Southern reported $13.2 million, and Yankee reported $43.4 million. The companies also reported the unit costs for main service lines and meters. According to the record, the capital expenditures have remained relatively robust, while the number of new customer additions declined relative to the earlier days of the program. As a result, the average cost per new customer have increased significantly. The LDCs are required to notify the authority if the expenditures increase the overall average residential bill for existing customers by 5% or more in any given year, or by 15% or more in over the life of the plan. For CNG, the SCR surcharge will increase the average residential non-heating and heating customer bill by 2.31% and 1.23% per month. For Southern, the SCR surcharge will increase the average residential non-heating and heating customer bill by 3.2% and 1.78% per month. For Yankee, the SCR surcharge will increase the average residential non-heating and heating customer bill by 3.55% and 2.6% per month. The 2019 SCR decision required the LDCs to submit accuracy assessments of all projects in their fifth year to determine the prudency of the SCP. Based on the record, the authority finds the significant customer payments through the SCR and non-farm margin contributions have reduced the risk for each LDC for revenue shortfalls and or cost variances. To conclude, the SCR filings conform to the settlement agreement and the gas expansion decision. The issues identified by the authorities 2019 SCR decision persist in 2020. Certain elements of the SCP are under review in docket number 130602 RE05, and I recommend this decision to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second?
Thank you. The decision has been regularly moved and seconded. If there are no questions or comments, I'd ask Mr. Bumpin to please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The decision has been adopted. So next turn to the fourth item on today's regular calendar, docket number 210803, the annual non-residential renewable energy tariff program review, year one. Just a slight note, the regular meeting agenda to define this as an interim decision. It is actually a final decision in this docket. So just one minor adjustment there. And with that, I would ask Authority Staff Jacob Reinert to present the final decision for the panel's consideration, please.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. In today's decision, the authority would approve with modification rules proposed by the electric distribution companies to administer the program for non-residential customers deploying eligible Class 1 renewable energy projects termed the non-residential tariff program. This decision follows the authority's June 30th decision in docket number 200701, establishing the program pursuant to Public Act 19-35, as codified in section 16244Z of the General Statutes of Connecticut, which directed PURA to establish the program to be effective January 2022 through December 2027. The authority initiated this proceeding on August 11th, 2021 to review the EDC's compliance with the authority's June 30th decision, and subsequently received the EDC's proposed program rules on September 2nd. Stakeholders proposed potential improvements to the proposals, which were discussed at a technical meeting held on September 17th. The authority then issued a proposed decision on October 15th before receiving written exceptions and holding oral arguments on October 22nd. Today's decision builds on the authority's June 30th decision, which outlined the following objectives for the program. First, to foster the sustained orderly development of the state's Class 1 renewable energy industry. Second, deploy the full program capacity allowable under statute. Third, ensure least cost outcomes through the annual solicitation process. Fourth, enable accessibility for customers through a simplified program design. And last, encourage increased inclusivity overall, including for customers in underserved communities. This decision, if adopted, would refine the program rules to more fully support the authority's objectives, namely through clarifying project eligibility requirements that will provide flexibility to customers seeking to aggregate load at the same project site, and to support customers exploring beneficial electrification efforts such as fleet electrification. The decision would also finalize the project solicitation and selection processes to be used for year one of the program for larger project categories, and establish tariff rates for zero emission projects which with capacity less than 200 kilowatts. Further, in support of the authority's goal to encourage increased inclusivity, the decision would approve 20% bid preferences for projects sited on landfills or brownfields or in distressed municipalities. And finally, today's decision directs the EDCs to submit revised program rules and supporting documentation in early December of this year to ensure a successful first-year solicitation process, with the EDC scheduled to release the request for proposals on February 1st of 2022. If adopted, this decision would represent an important step in supporting the sustained and equitable development of the state's renewable energy industry. Staff recommends this decision to the panel, and thanks for your consideration.
And thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. The decision has been regularly moved and seconded. There are no questions or comments. I would ask you to take the roll, please.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The decision has been adopted. That concludes our regular calendar. So we are going to turn next to our consent calendar. There are 9 items on today's consent calendar. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move adoption of today's consent calendar, items 1 through 9.
And I will second it.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been regularly moved and seconded. If there are no questions or comments, I'd ask to take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been adopted. That brings us to the end of today's agenda. We will adjourn and reconvene next Wednesday, November 10th by remote teleconference for the next regular meeting. Thank you and have a great day.